right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Mark Miano. I'm our EVP of Sales and Partnerships here at Glew. Man, I can't believe it. Abby and I were speaking. This is our 10th webinar, which is really exciting. And what we thought would be a great topic today is to actually talk about business intelligence at the highest level. Yes, Glew Plus is the highest quality and most cost-effective way to get to the analytics that might be custom for you. But after this webinar, you'll have a deep understanding as to why that is, just in case you want to go ahead and go off on your own and do what you can if you don't want to work with us. I hope you work with us, but after this, you should know exactly why working with us would be a no-brainer. Real quick, your custom reporting questions answered. But before we get into the custom reporting, because what we will be talking about is business intelligence, it's really important that we talk about what business intelligence is. And may I just quickly add, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them into the chat box. Abby and I will be looking at those, but I will be moving through the entire demonstration as a lot of the questions will most likely be answered. But yeah, just go ahead and please ask away and we'll field those at the end. So let's get back on topic. So what is business intelligence? Well, it depends who you ask. If you are an average business person like me, I am not a developer, business intelligence is or are insights that change behavior for the more profitable. That is what business intelligence is. What's reporting? Well, reporting is something that you have to do because your boss told you had to do it, or your PE firm told you that you had to do it, right? But business intelligence is different because the purpose isn't to simply report on numbers because we had to report on them. The lift or the purpose is to truly understand how can we change our behavior inside our organization to become a more profitable company. The technical definition of that, which we'll explore today, is using all the data in your company at once to run the appropriate calculations to understand how to change behavior for the more profitable. Most of us, especially in the multi-channel and e-commerce world, don't have that luxury. I have my Facebook tab, my AdWords tab, my Google Analytics tab, my Shopify tab, my Amazon tab, my POS system, my ERP system, my loyalty program. All this data is not operating at the same time. And think about how big of a problem that is, right? You're not using Shopify from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to run your business, and you're not using Google Analytics from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. to run your business, and then Klaviyo from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. to run your business. You're using all of these data points at once to run the business. So we have to analyze the data in the same way that you are using it. Otherwise, you're just not going to get anywhere, or you'll be operating off of false positives. And that's what we're going to explore today. To bring this home for you on the technical side and the business side, let's take a look at just a few calculations that Glew.io both provides out of the box as well as can provide you custom reports around. Return on ad spend, ROAS, as they say. Well, that requires revenue. And we work a lot with Shopify, but BigCommerce, Magento, your ERP system, I don't really care where your revenue is. The calculation is the same. Revenue divided by ad spend. Well, revenue is coming out of my POS marketplace or my e-commerce cart, and my ad spend is in Facebook and AdWords. So, well, if I want to calculate that particular metric, I'm going to need at least two sources, right? Attribution modeling. Revenue over channel or revenue over campaign, right? Typically, Shopify provides me the revenue, and well, the channel is tagged via Google Analytics, or the campaign is tagged via Google Analytics. That's another example of two sources needed in order to run a really important calculation. Multi-channel reporting. I get this question a lot. Mark, I have a D2C strategy, a marketplace strategy, and a brick and mortar strategy. Well, great. If you want to sum your revenue, that's going to be challenging if you don't have Glew, because what might be revenue in Shopify, including taxes, shipping, discounts, or whatnot, might not be the same definition or formula for revenue in Amazon, right? You just can't sum those tables together on your own. Someone has to clean up that data and make them work nice with each other. Profitability. Really important, vital metric. Well, typically my revenue is in, again, some type of e-commerce card or ERP or something, and my costs are in, let's say, QuickBooks. So what do these calculations have in common? Number one, they're crucial to understand how to change your behavior for the more profitable. But it's not that no one on this call knows that these calculations are important. It's that you can't get to them. They require more than one source to calculate, right? So what we're going to do today is explore why Glew Plus is so effective in creating these customized reports, or any report. And also, if you want to go out and try to do this on your own, I don't recommend doing that, but at least you understand just what questions to ask your vendor or your agency or yourself or whomever when trying to get this thing up and running. Here's a look at our data architecture real quick. I'm going to go through this in explicit detail. But again, you can generally see we have all this data on the left, and this isn't even scratching the surface of all the integrations that we offer. But you'll see that that data gets pulled through a certain level of steps, and there's two outputs, right? Now, if this is if you're I've seen a webinar of ours before, you'll see we talk a lot about Glew.io, which is our software as a service product. This product is great. It provides about 85% of all the analytics everyone needs in e-commerce and multi-channel, but it's 85% of what you need, right? There's a lot of money in that extra 15%. So that's why we have Glew Plus. Today we're going to focus a lot on Glew Plus and the custom reporting side of things. But just note that Glew.io, it's a product. It's the same thing replicated over and over again. It's easy to use. It's cheap. Does a lot of the heavy lifting already. Glew Plus is custom, right? Every company is different, which is why we offer Glew Plus. And whatever you would, again, have to pay and maintain and develop on your own is just now out of the box here. And we're going to go into that in a minute. All right. This is a very crowded area, the business intelligence world. And it's really important for you to have an understanding about how we take the data on the left-hand side of the screen and pull that data through into custom dashboards like you're looking at right here. Okay, how do we go from all this data being all over the place and all these different structures and stuff and delivering it in this beautiful, logical dashboard which will change behavior for the more profitable? Well, in order to get there, you have to perform these 6 steps. You do not have a choice. In the past, what you'd have to do is buy each software or hardware or developer to accomplish each of these 6 steps. For example, a lot of people watching this probably know what Tableau is. Tableau just got by $15 billion by Salesforce, which if you don't know what Tableau is, you should probably go take a look at it. Looker got bought by Google for $3 billion too a couple weeks ago. Wow, one has a market cap of $15 billion and the other $3 billion. Those 2 softwares are step 4. So if you were to buy one of those $40,000 pieces of software, you would then have to piece together step 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 on your own. Doesn't sound fun, right? These business intelligence projects, buying a Tableau, buying my silo, hiring a developer, maintaining it over time, all that crap, this used to cost deep into about $500,000 per merchant in order to get to the insights that Glew brings to you in a couple of seconds. And so think about this, right? Why is that the case? Well, Tableau, a Looker, a Periscope, a Sisense, any BI system, they have 2 things in common. First thing, they serve all industries. Tableau will work with law firms, healthcare systems, the Weather Channel, anybody and everyone with data. Tableau has the capacity to use and manipulate that data. The second thing that they have in common is, again, you need more than just Tableau or any of these systems on your own in order to get to where you want to go. The result are very, very high costs and very, very low quality insights. Again, because these are generalist type tools. Here at Glew, what we've decided to do is specialize in one industry, which is e-commerce and multi-channel. I don't work with healthcare systems normally. We do, but normally we don't. We work with e-commerce and multi-channel. And our concentration and specialization in this one space has allowed us to align all 6 of these steps into one subscription, which increases the quality of each insight while decreasing the cost of each insight. And the difference, of course, is profitability passed on to you. So I'm going to walk you through these 6 steps so you know crystal clear what they are and why Glew would be the way to go for your custom reporting or any reporting, business intelligence, because there's a difference, like I already acknowledged. But also, if you did want to try to do this on your own, you know exactly what to do. Step 1 is the integrations pipeline. That's bringing data from point A in the cloud, right, to point B, which is the intelligent data warehouse. It's a physical server sitting in a data center somewhere. And that step is this little dotted line that you see moving from, let's say, Shopify up here, pulling that into that server. Is this unique to Glew? No, it is not unique to us. Is it a pain in the butt? Oh yeah, it's a huge pain in the butt. Each one of the APIs that we pull the data out of, an API is like the connection that allows the data to pass out of said source into an environment like Glew's intelligent data warehouse. Each API is different and it's its own animal to wrestle with. Think about downloading a file on your computer again, right? Some files take really long to download, some don't, depending on the type of file and all that type of stuff. An imperfect metaphor, but a good one nonetheless. And again, our comparative advantage here is we'll never turn an integration away. And we also have about 100 integrations in the intelligent data warehouse for multi-channel and e-commerce, which is really great. So again, an easy step to think about, but an important one, but not unique to us. Again, think about like downloading the file into the server itself or the data into the server itself. The second step is the ETL process. This is our intellectual property. This is when you buy a BI tool and then people get fired. I've seen people cry really hard. Wheels start coming off the bus. It's just something that, trust me, you do not want to do on your own. It stands for extract, transform, and load. The key word being transform. So before we can start manipulating all this data at once, like I already showed you back on this slide, all of this data has to be transformed into a singular structure first, which is incredibly expensive, painful, and technical to do. For example, Shopify. Well, that's a cart system that's in UTC time zone. Its subscription application recharge is in Eastern time zone. Well, that's like 4 or 5 hours apart. If you're trying to analyze your data and your 2 most important data sets are 5 hours apart, that's a nightmare. You're not going to be able to easily look into a dashboard and come out away from that dashboard with logical conclusions and behavior changes if all of your data is skewed from a time standpoint. Or think about simple profitability calculations where what might be revenue, again, in Shopify isn't revenue, let's say, in your POS system, right? I mean, you can't start adding revenue columns together if they're not sharing the same formula for what revenue is. Now, think of those 2 really simple examples, and then the problem gets exponentially difficult when you have hundreds of data points in hundreds of data sources. I mean, it's crazy. So here at Glew, we don't make the transformation process easier. We don't make it more fun. We don't make it simple or faster. We actually relieve you completely from that process, which gives you the richest set of data possible to work out of, and we can start thinking critically about the business right away and not worrying about what sources you're using to operate the business and if we can get them to play nice with each other and how many months of work that will take. Literally, you can imagine each source will probably take you a month to 45 days to transform, which is a lot of time. Step 3 is the data warehousing aspect, right? These APIs break and change every day. For example, Shopify just updated their API a couple of months ago to include cost of goods sold. Adobe just bought Magento. Who knows what Adobe is going to do to the back end of Magento? Add tables, remove tables, all that stuff. If you were to try to do this on your own, guys, you'd be spending $100,000 a year in order to maintain your data warehouses. And with Glew, we're eating all that cost because we have many clients using the intelligent data warehouse, not just you. I've spoken with Deloitte, Accenture, Wonderman, some really, really big, great, reputable agencies. And the cost and overhead that they put in over the past 20 years of maintaining their own databases is unbelievable. The fourth step is a BI tool. Okay, we do need some type of empty vessel or a presentation layer to create your custom visualization out of. Now, we've worked with pretty much every BI tool on the planet. We bundle the subscription. In fact, we buy them in volume annually for you to further drive down your costs. If you really like using your own BI tool, and let's say you're someone who knows SQL, Python, R, whatever that might be, feel free to use it. But to simplify your world, we do provide you a BI tool to, again, further drive down the costs of your insights. Step 5 are the calculations. So think of steps 2 and steps 5 as Glew's intellectual property, and think of steps 1, 3, 4, and 6 as a means to an end to get those insights over to you. We have thousands of calculations. You've seen it just to scratch the surface of them in the last slide. But again, many, many calculations that we've designed over the past near decade, and we can apply those calculations to any of your sources. And then step 6 is the delivery. So I always joke, look, everyone wants to jump directly to step 6. And I totally hear that, right? I've been doing this for a long time. But you have to have an appreciation and understanding of the journey that you must take in order to get to the delivery of the insights. And I'm going to show you that right now. But getting the right information to the right person is its own beast, right? Sometimes you have a C-suite member who wants to see all the profitability of the company, and maybe you have a new marketing intern that only has access to Google Analytics and web traffic type stuff. So getting the right insight to the right person is its own value proposition that Glew provides. Great. So now what I'm going to show you is I'm actually going to show you the journey of the data from point 1 to 6 right now. Now remember, if I come back here, Glew.io takes you from 1 to 6 automatically. That's why we haven't had this conversation before. With Glew Plus, I'm going to show you a little bit different of a journey because, well, you're custom, right? And custom requires a little bit of TLC here. I am in Glew.io, ironically enough. I'm going to go is store settings. And the store settings page, if you've seen Glew before, you'll know this menu, but this menu is a very important piece of our system. In fact, it's probably the most important piece of our system. And what it does is it just allows you to type in the usernames and passwords of each source that you want brought into the intelligent data warehouse, and you're pretty much done. If I come back over here, that menu I just showed you gets you from step 1 to 3 automatically. By typing in the usernames and passwords of the disparate sources that you're using to operate the business, steps 1 through 3 are done automatically. Unbelievable. You don't have to do anything. Just come into here, I can't stress it enough, and client by client, if you're an agency or a multi-store company, or whatever you want to do, if you're a single store, you just type in the usernames and passwords into this list. Once I type in my usernames and passwords into the store settings menu, I am then going to use step 4, the BI tool. Okay, I am in a BI tool. This will say whatever, right? Client A, Redshift, Silo 1. This right here represents this gray box, your silo. A silo is a terminology for a data warehouse or a server. Okay? And I want to share the same jargon. A silo is called all kinds of things. But that dedicated silo is where we are going to take this BI tool and point this BI tool at that silo that your data is in. And all the tables, check it out, for all your clients or for you, pop out transformed and ready for queries, right? I can take my BigCommerce customers and lump them together with my Amazon customers, or my BigCommerce revenue and lump it together with my Amazon revenue, or whatever the example is. This is representing step 2. The calculations that you want to run. We have many of them already completed, okay? That's why it's so fast and easy. Well, we can create whatever you want. and the calculations are inputted into this box. And here, what I'm saying, it's nuanced. Step 2 and step 5. Step 2, step 5. If you were looking at a BI tool on your own, you'd be looking at the exact same thing with no data and no calculations, right? Domo is like 60 grand a year. And you would buy the Domo account and then have hundreds of thousands of dollars of development work and buying hardwares and stuff to get to what you're looking at here. So it's really important that you're understanding that this is step 2 and step 5. When I click run in this BI tool, what's going to happen is the custom report is going to render inside the BI tool. Now here is a very purposefully picked one, aggregate store KPIs. I'm summing together multiple stores, marketplaces, and channels. Got my net revenue, my net profit, my COGS, my margin, all that stuff is clean because, again, step 2 and step 5 are already completed. We are not going to be delivering you your custom visualization out of a BI tool, though. That's not scalable and it doesn't make you look good. It's just not what we're going to do. So for step 6, the delivery, we're going to deliver the report to you, in one of 2 places. And here's the dashboard. I'm showing it to you. The first place that we can deliver it is right inside Glew.io, the software as a service product. I'm going to go to highlights. I'm in Glew.io right now. BI tunnel, which is right here. And what you'll find is, there's my dashboard. Here is that custom report that I bought from Glew, and it's custom just to you. Again, it's not a part of Glew.io, the standard offering. This is custom just to you. And you'll see that same dashboard I showed you back in the BI tool right inside the same user interface. That's how we deliver it to you. Now, if you're maybe e-commerce or something, or maybe we have a different delivery method for some reason, we also have a separate application called Glew Enterprise, where you have different groups of dashboards and different dashboards within each group. But again, what I'm showing you is step 6, right? The delivery of the dashboard into one of, whatever user you want. If I zoom back out here, guys, to these 6 steps, what I have just showed you is, for the first time ever, all 6 steps in one place, right? Step 1 through 3 are completely automated for you by typing in the usernames and passwords of the disparate sources that you're using to operate the business. That we need those data endpoints available so that we can begin querying. Step 4 is we're in a BI tool, right? We point that BI tool at the dedicated silo, which is yours. All the tables that you've given us access to pop out transformed and ready for queries. We then use our expertise in your input to calculate and create the report the way you like it. We'll design and make it all pretty and colorful and get the right parameters in place for you. And then we deliver it through BI Tunnel via Glew.io or Glew Enterprise. I can't stress enough. If you want to buy your own Amazon Redshift database, transform 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sources into inside the same schema, pay the maintenance fees over time as those APIs break and change, spend $25,000 to $40,000 in a BI tool, think of your calculations all on your own from scratch with no help, and then try to copy and paste PDFs and crap throughout your entire company, go for it. But now you can actually see why it's a no-brainer to simply just call us up and outsource this, and we can collaborate together. From here, I normally start giving examples of different dashboards. Custom dashboards can be pretty daunting if you don't have some frameworks in order to make the most out of the system that you now are using to gain deeper transparency into your business. But I'll stop here and want to open this up for questions before we move on. Abby, do you have any questions?
No questions in there yet. We can give it a minute or so. If anybody has a question on what Mark has covered so far, feel free to pop it in the chat box, or in the question module down at the bottom of your screen. We'll wait a minute or so.
When you are, thank you, Abby. When you are, what we're trying to uncover for you here today, guys, is what is called the principal agent problem. So have you ever gone to a car mechanic and said, hey man, there's something sounding kind of funny in my car, or maybe even just get an oil change, and the car mechanic comes back to you and says, oh, by the way, man, your engine's about to fall out from the bottom of your car. You need to pay me $10,000 so that I can fix your engine. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I know nothing about cars, but I definitely want to be able to get to work every day. But does this mechanic, who I never met before, really have my best interests in mind? Or does he just want to take a flight to Hawaii and have a 1-month vacation on me? Right? That's called the principal agent problem. You're going to experience the same thing in this world. Is you're going to call up Tableau or call up an agency or something, and they're going to say, oh yeah, I know the report that you want. That's going to cost about $50,000 in order for me to develop for you. You're thinking to yourself the same thing. Am I being taken advantage of, or is that $50,000 actually the best price and the best deal for my need? And with this demo, that should hopefully answer your questions, and you can always call us too, so that we can have your best interests at heart and make sure that you get the right insight at the highest quality at the right cost.
No questions yet. Maybe we can walk through some of the examples.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of examples, I have one up here. Attribution modeling. This is a cool one, right? Like revenue by channel and orders by channel, right? Oh, I got 886 orders from direct in the past whatever date frame this is for, and I got 1,500 from paid and whatever. Well, how am I supposed to read this chart? Did I make 342 orders from people who made their last order through organic search? Or is this 352 orders from people who first bought from organic search? Right? Attributing sales revenue to different touch points in a customer journey is something that's extremely challenging. And this is a really cool chart because it demonstrates bringing more than one source and using more than one source across more than one calculation. To kind of go off the reservation a little bit, think about someone using Zendesk, right? I don't have this dashboard in front of me, but think about if I'm running the customer service department of Zendesk and I want to understand how to change my customer service department's behavior for them more profitable. Well, I probably want to understand how my client, my team's time impacts the revenue of my business. For example, Zendesk offers a data endpoint on the quality of the customer service experience, right? A star from 1 to 5. 5 stars being a perfect customer experience and 1 star being the worst customer experience ever. Well, if I'm the customer service manager, I probably want to know what star am I okay with? Do I need to get a 5-star experience in order to pull as much money out of my client, my customer as possible? Or maybe I can get to more customers and be okay with a lower quality experience and still get the same monetary results, right? Maybe it's 3 stars that is the perfect amount of stars to get to balance my time and the quality of the service that we're providing. Well, in that particular case, we have 2 examples. We have the revenue, or let's say the lifetime value of the customer, which is pulled out of Shopify or your revenue source. And then we have the star experience, 1 to 5, being pulled out of Zendesk. And by matching these up against each other, what my client discovered was that actually it was about 4 stars. He didn't need to go for the 5 stars. He could get through more tickets and be okay with a 4-star experience than a 5-star experience, make more money, and satisfy more customers at the same time. So again, whatever your particular need is, we'll brainstorm what sources you're using, what goals you're trying to get to. But I think that's a really, really unique share story to really get your pistons firing on what it's like to use all of your data at once and not being okay with all of it being siloed in tabs. All right, so I'm going to stop here. I think we've been talking about 32 minutes. I do know there's a thing called overselling. Hopefully this gives you a taste for what BI truly is and how to go about doing it in the most highest quality and the most cost-effective way possible. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Cool. I got one question. Sorry about that.
Sure.
Responding to someone in chat. Can you break out data by campaign or just on a channel level? This is from Eric.
It all depends on the sources that you're using. So let's assume you're using Google Analytics. Okay. If you're using Google Analytics, their UTM codes allow you to tag on a campaign level. And in that case, we would be able to split out your channel and campaign. If you're using it's like a CDP platform or like Telium or something like that, I actually think that they provide even more ways to split out and understand your attribution. But yeah, great question, and absolutely, you just got to make sure that we're talking about what source you're using and how you're tagging your campaigns in that particular example.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And so much of this, since we're talking about custom reporting, is custom. So if you have other questions related to your specific data sources or a specific report that you want to create, reach out to us anytime. You can reach out to Mark, or you can get in touch with our team at support@glew.io, and we're happy to answer your questions or talk about your reporting needs.
Very good.
Cool. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you later.